Hello, hello. Let's talk about users and permissions and managing what users can see and publish in Brightspot. What I'll focus on is how you can make these changes yourself as an admin user in the system without needing to pick up the phone and call IT and ask for help. So I'm actually logged in right now into Brightspot as an admin user. So you can see I have 4 different tabs on my dashboard. If I go into search, I have a ton of content types. I have access to basically everything in the system. So the way users and roles is managed, if I come over into admin, I click on users and roles, let me find myself. I'm Meredith. So if I pull up my user, you'll see first and foremost what role a user is associated with. In this case, I have admin as my role. Within a user, you can also configure things like name, email address, username. You can reset a user's password for Brightspot right here from this admin. You can also force them to change that password the next time they log in. And you can also change the language that they see the system in. So if you have an editor who is located in Mexico and they want to use the CMS in Spanish, you can change that for them right here on their user profile. So let's look at how actual permissions are configured in Brightspot. I'll start with admin, since that's the role that I'm logged in with today. Admins, we want to have access to just about everything in the system. So in this case, an admin user has access to all sites, all areas. Areas really means admin areas, right? Who has permission to actually create permissions or change your workflows. And then types, so who can have access to your articles, who has access to section pages. You can get pretty granular about which role has permission to which content types, and important, you can change those whenever you want. You can create a new role right from Brightspot, assign it to users. You're empowered to do that right from the system. So let's look at a more restricted role. Let's look at reporter, which has access to only 2 of our sites. So as Perfect Sense, we operate quite a few sites from our multi-site implementation. We run Brightspot, Perfect Sense, Inspire Confidence, and a few others. So in this case, what we're seeing is our reporter only has access to 2 of our sites. They only have access to the dashboard of the CMS, and they only have access to the content type article. Now, if we go into the content type article, you'll see that even within that article, we can further restrict these permissions. I can say that the reporter can only see an article as read-only once it's been published, and I can also configure the steps that they can take in a workflow. So in this case, the reporter can only save, submit, or resubmit their content. They cannot publish or take any bulk actions or delete any content. So let me show you what the system actually looks like as a reporter role. So I'm looking at Ann Ulrich, and if we see here she is associated with the role reporter, I can actually impersonate Ann in that little gear up there, which lets us look at the system as she would see it. So you'll see she has access only to the Brightspot and Perfect Sense site. Her dashboard is much more streamlined. She just sees an article. And if we open up search, she just has access to the article content type. Now, if we wanted to quickly configure Ann's permissions, let me stop impersonating her, and we'll go back to that reporter role. And let's say we need Ann, even though she only has access to articles on Brightspot and Perfect Sense. Let's say we also want to now give her access to Inspire Confidence, our media site, but we only want on that site for her to be able to touch photo galleries. So we'll say she only has access to the dashboard of this site, and types, we will select only content type gallery. And I will actually give her permission to do all actions. She'll be able to publish photo galleries on that site. If we save and then go back to Ann and impersonate her again, we'll now see she has access to the Inspire Confidence site. She has access to the content type gallery. So if we create gallery, you'll see here Ann has access to publish this particular piece of content. Whereas if we switched over to Perfect Sense and created a new article, she actually only has the save options here in the system. So that's a quick primer on permissions and configuring permissions and the sort of things you can do as an admin user directly in Brightspot, right? Without a ticket to IT, without having to work with someone on your development side to change things. You can see really quickly how someone's going to experience the system and make changes to it. That's permissions in Brightspot. Thanks for watching.